Out, please. Good evening and welcome. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your podcast host for How to Fight CPS and Stop Taking Our Children. I want to welcome you all, a warm welcome, because I know that you've all have a very complex issue with the child protection system. And for some of you, it may be new. For some of you, it may be old hats. I know I have returning visitors to this podcast. But this is open to everyone. Long for courtesy to each other. Try to be courtesy to each other. We all have, you know, lions to fight. Now, I'm a loving father of 6 children, been married for 32 years, and I too was involved in CPS. It hit me about 2010 at first when I lost my job, and for the first 5 years, I kept getting these phone calls that said my kids weren't going to school, they weren't clothed, they weren't fed, they weren't taken care of. And on top of that, they're from my lay people, my in-laws, which I did not know. It's my wife's mother and father, sisters and brothers were making up stories that we weren't paying the utility bills, we weren't feeding them. And I had shown them the house many a time. The refrigerator was full, there was food. I showed them the grade reports. I dispelled anything they did there, but I did not know at the time that's who the layperson are doing the allegations. So I started a rocky time off at 5 months in. I was 5 years in. All right, I like to go over the room, how you can interact with the room. This is an interaction room in there, and there's several ways you can interact. The first way is to be in the room. You can be in the room. I'm not ready to take phone calls yet, so I'll take down the phone number there. Yeah, the first way you interact is to be in the room, and you listen and hear what they have to, have people have to say. Just be courteous and kind to them. The second way is to show a comment. You can do a comment. So what that means is you're going to type in some comment about your CPS questions. This is about CPS, so try to restrict it to CPS questions. Please show me your name, city, state, or country. The reason why I say country is because we do have people from around the world that have contacted us, and this site is open to everybody. I've had Bangladesh call in, I've had India, South Africa, and then I had Mozambique, which is from opposite Madagascar, which is on the east side of Africa, above South Africa. I've had Rwanda, which is near Lake Victoria in the central of East Africa, and they have texted in. I've also had the country of Liberia, which is on the west side of Africa, the northern part. So they have also contacted a guy named Archie. Is called, commented several times. He involves himself with Scouts, which is a program for boys and girls. It used to be called the Boy Scouts, but now it's just called the Scouts. And so he does that. I've also in Europe got England, Scotland, Wales, the United Kingdom, and then I've also gotten Denmark and Sweden. Now moving over to North America, I've gotten Canada on both coasts. I've got all 50 states, including Washington, D.C., and I've also got Mexico. And they have actually called in one time locating their daughter in Louisiana. Anyway, in the South Pacific, down the land, down under, I have Australia. So those are the countries around the world that have expressed a concern about CPS and offered their comments. Now, a third way is if you want to be um, a guest on the podcast. That's the third way to interact. All you have to do is contact our show producer. Her name is Grace, and she works really hard behind the scenes, and she helps me out with doing the podcast. She also will help you out if you email her what days and times you want to be on. Now, I'm on 14 times a week, twice a day, 7 days a week. I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning for 1 hour Pacific Standard Time, except on Sunday. On Sunday, I'm on at 8 o'clock. As far as nighttime, I'm on 7 p.m. every night of the week, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for an hour. So all you have to do is tell Grace, I want to be on Bob's show, his morning Friday show, his Wednesday evening show, his Monday morning show, his Tuesday evening show, whatever of the 14 you want to pick. And I'd love to have you on there. Now, all you need to do is write an email to Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. So it's important that you list the date and the time, not the date, but the time of the week, like Monday or Friday or Saturday. And then the time, morning or evening, is all you have to say. You don't have to remember the exact time. And she'll take care of the rest. So email Grace at vincentwdavis.com, and she'll gladly help you. So that's the third way. The fourth way is to call me. And now I'm going to put my phone number up. I'm ready to take phone calls. I just wanted to get this out of the way there. So my phone number is 626-698-0990. You'll reach me on my phone. That's my office number. It's available during the times I'm on the show. And all you have to do is, let me go ahead and make sure I plug in the time here. I mean, plug in the battery, so make sure the phone is fully charged. Okay. So you'll get my Vonage, which is my phone application for my office. They use Vonage. So that's who will. So it's set to go, and you can call in at 626-698-0990. 626-698-0990. Now, I want to welcome back Jessica Jones, who was on before. Good to see you, Jessica. Well, actually, she goes by Jessica. Oh, the Salt Lake City. I think she's from the Salton City. When I drug test, and I know I was clear, and they said I was dirty. So I'm trying to get rehab, but they want me to get a church. You get the church in. Boy, I'm really confused about that one, Jesse. I don't know what the church would have to do with CPS. Yes, Grace is the best. Okay, we have our first caller tonight. It's from 502. Good evening. This is Bob Pace. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, my name is Krista.
Crystal or Krista?
Krista.
Krista, glad to meet you there, Krista, and welcome. What city and state are you from?
New Albany, Indiana.
All right, welcome from Indiana. I'm not too familiar with that city. And you must have a CPS case.
Yes, sir, I do, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the hard thing about it. I know that's the most nightmare that you ever want to be, because they're not an agency you can trust, and they are really full of bad apples.
Yeah. So I'm I haven't really watched your show. I've got some notifications that you were live. I've been needing to call in for a while, but I don't really like talking about all the things that are going on in my life. But I'm at the point where I need some help and some information, and I don't know what else to do.
I don't. First of all, you're safe in this room. The people here are really respectful and they really care about you, and they actually offer suggestions. I do have my regular followers.
Okay.
And I don't want you to feel intimidated or anything else about it. But what is your family makeup? Is it husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, partners? What is your?
No, I'm a single mother, and I have a teenage daughter and a elementary age son.
So you have a daughter and son. One's a teenager, one's in elementary school. Is the father the same for both those children?
No, they have different fathers who are both uninvolved. And
that was my next question. I want to know if they're involved or not. If they're involved, then it gets a little bit more stickler. So you're a single parent raising these two kids, and what happened? I mean, did they come into your home? Did they call you? What did they do?
The school that my son was going to, my son had some behavior issues. I thought that he had ADHD. We did a 504 plan. We did an IEP, and the school never honored either of them. My son had a behavior incident where he was basically nervous about the possible consequences of a picture he drew that somebody mistaken for something else. And they brought him to the office, and they called me, and they suspended him, saying that he could not come back to school until he was psychologically evaluated.
Okay, now can we stop there for a second? He's a special needs school. Why did the school turn you down for IEP?
Well, we went through the process of getting him psychologically evaluated with the school, and when I signed the IEP paperwork, they just didn't honor it, nor did they honor the 504 plan before that.
What? There got to be a reason why the school stopped that.
Well, I had signed the paperwork and I sent it back, and they didn't check his backpack to see that the paperwork had been returned. So on the day that they called me is the day that they finally received the IEP paperwork, even though it had been in his backpack.
I just don't understand. People should know that special needs child have issues, and it's not their fault. They forget the paperwork. That's really bad. And then he drew a picture of something that was awful, I guess. So, so the school right off the bat is not wanting you or not being too friendly about having your son in school, right?
Yes, for the most part. And
so, did you get so what happened? I mean, did you get charged with anything, with any allegations?
Yes, after they suspended him, the very next day they made a report to Child Protective Services that I was neglecting my son's mental health needs because I wanted to make sure that I had a Christian therapist for my son.
What is wrong with a Christian therapist?
My personal opinion is that they gave me instructions and I didn't follow them the way they wanted me to. So they had to do something in response. And also...
Was that the child protection system or the school district or the school itself?
It's the school itself made the report. And
did you go to the principal of the school and ask them why you're denied an IEP? Did you talk to the principal?
I had the meeting with the principal. She's the one that suspended him.
Okay. Have you gone to the school district?
Just to get copies of the paperwork of my son's behavior in an effort to try to deal with his mental health.
Well, you're going to have to go to the school district to get them involved because they should not deny you IEP. By law, and the state of Indiana follows the same law as the rest of the other states. If a parent requests for a special needs child, they should be processed, and they should make all efforts to evaluate the child. You can take the child to your own doctor. You can call up your medical plan and say, I want to have my child um, evaluated, and they will do it part of your health plan.
Yes. And since my son is no longer going to the school, I'm in the process of doing various different things in regards to his mental health, and he's got a few different diagnoses and, so on and so forth. But after they suspended him, he could no longer return. And so time went on, and I ultimately ended up unenrolling him with the intention of homeschooling him. And when I unenrolled him, they reported that I was now neglecting his education.
Well, what you can do is you need to go to the district and do an interdistrict. If the principal is that bad, then you can go to this district and talk to the superintendent of schools.
Okay.
You talk to the superintendent of schools, you give your grievance. You can file a grievance against the elementary school with the district. You can file a grievance that you're being denied IEP, and then because you're denied IEP, they're also, you're trying to make other arrangements for you to protect your child, and they're making further trouble with the CPS system.
Oh, man.
I'm so sorry you're going through this.
Well, yeah, I have a chronic pain condition, and the stress of this case is exacerbating it. I've lost my ability to provide for my family in all different ways. The CPS agreed to assist with funding different educational things, and after I begun meeting with them and allowing them in my home, after the judge, after I agreed to an involuntary adjustment or whatever they call it here in this state, they basically have just been taking up all the time. I've been going to all the appointments. I've been doing and providing whatever documents I can, and they haven't relinquished any funds to assist us. And
are you destitute? Are you destitute? Are you destitute? That means you have no money.
Yes, I am.
Well, you could ask for aid from both the district and from the school. Now, the school sounds like a big problem, so maybe stay away from the school and try the district. You also can ask the social workers that you need to talk to them about food stamps, and you need to talk to them about medical. I don't know if you have Medi-Cal or not, or food stamps.
Yes, sir. I do have those things as of this point.
Okay, well then they should see that right off the bat that you don't have the funds to support the CPS system in Indiana or the funds to support the school. I don't know what your luck is with the district because I don't think you've approached them yet. You need to file a grievance. You know what a grievance is?
Yes, a complaint.
Yeah, it is a complaint against an entity. Everybody, you can file a grievance against the police. You can file a grievance against a judge. You can file a grievance against CPS and against the school and so forth. It's a complaint.
And who would I file a grievance?
Well, I don't know who the superintendent of schools is, but I'm pretty sure if you got on the internet and looked at the superintendent of your school district, it should tell you. Also, if you contact the district, they should put you with the people to help you file a grievance.
Okay. And in regards to a grievance against CPS?
Well, you could file a grievance to their supervisor. If that's no good, you go to the director. If that's no good, you go to the state of Indiana and file it with the budsman or the oh god, I forgot the name of it. Yeah, all states have them. It's the I'm gonna have to look it up. I forgot that one there. It's at the state level. I think it's called the Indiana. Okay. They have what's called the Ombudsman Bureau and the Attorney General's office and the Indiana Supreme Court. So if you go to the Indiana Department of Administration, the IDOA, and you look up how to file a complaint, it tells you what you need to do. The Indiana Ombudsman Bureau suggests that offenders attempt to resolve a complaint at the facility level before sending a complaint to the Bureau. This includes beginning with a counselor or unit housing staff. Well, your case is with CPS, so if they're not going anywhere, it says that after this, any available appeal process should be exhausted and all paperwork should be sent with the complaint to the Bureau. For example, if this issue is grievable, then the grievance process should be used, or if the conduct report has filed, the disciplinary review process should be utilized. And they give you the address, the Indiana Ombudsman at 402 West Washington Street, W479, Indianapolis, Indiana, 4204. They also have an email, ombud at idoa.in.gov. That's OMBUD at idoa.ind.gov. They will respond to you within 10 business days of the receipt of the complaint.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And they have this great webpage. You got to start first at the low level. You start with a social worker. If they refuse to work with you, then you try to go to the director of that city social. I don't know the name of your CPS system is, but you go to that director. If that doesn't work, then you have to go to the state and file a complaint with the ombudsman.
Okay.
And it's all on the internet. As I tell my people, my rule number 4 is you should spend at least 40 to 60 hours studying the internet about CPS in your city and state. If it's a small city, you should say search, and you should put the small city and then a large city, and then Indiana, and then CPS, whatever you're looking for. In this case, you're looking for doing a complaint. But there's a lot of information on the internet that will help you. That will help you.
Okay.
And I'm so sorry you have to go through all this.
Yeah, I am too. The hardest part is with the medical condition that I have. They're not quite respecting that I have it. And they're asking me to do things that I just physically cannot do. And then they're trying to make it seem as though I'm not providing for my family because I'm not able to meet the marks that they set for me.
Yeah. Let me contact a couple of my regular viewers. They're not here yet. I'm surprised. I thought they'd be here by now, but I don't see them. Let me go ahead and. Sometimes the notifications take longer than 8 to 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna definitely rewatch the show to be able to accurately document everything you told me, and hopefully, when and if I have the opportunity to reach back out to you, I'll have something positive.
Well, is there something more that can answer your question on?
The only other question I would have is it legal for them to be able to question my medical conditions in regards to the accusation?
Well, I hate to tell you, but are you still there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay. I hate to tell you this, but that's how they do their MO. It's really bad. It's really, really, really bad. They want to terminate your parental rights. That's why they're doing that.
Right.
So what they're doing is they're setting you up for failure. And it looks like the principal doesn't like you. I don't know if you have something wrong with the principal or not, but you should make a grievance with the school district against that school and things for instance, if your son was kicked out, how old is your son?
He was 8 at the time. He's now 9.
Yeah. So an 8-year-old is ripped out of the school. There's an appeal process. You should have appealed that or ask him, how do I appeal that? Because because he didn't turn in your slip of paper, you should not be taken out of school for that. It's not his fault. I'm so sorry they did that to you. But I'm on twice a day. You can call me tomorrow morning at 10 or 7 o'clock, and that's every day this week, except Sunday I'm on at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's the only difference on my time.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Bob.
You bet. And please keep in touch with me about this, and good luck.
Thank you. God bless.
God bless. Thank you. Okay. We had a mom that somehow has been have her 8-year-old kicked out of school because he didn't turn in a paper that she signed to have an IEP done. I don't know. It sounds really bad. I told her to contact the school district and also file a grievance with the Indiana at the state level with the ombudsperson. So that was a hard one, and I thank her for calling in. That was good. Okay. Wow. Okay, so anyway, the phone is open again. You can call me at my phone number, and I'll gladly take the call. It's 626-698-0990. 626-698-0990. And you can call in right now. So Jesse Jones is from Salton City, California, and I want to know if you have more questions for me, Jesse. Thank you very, very much. And we just had Kristen call about her son in Indiana, and that was a real tragedy there. That her son, at the age of 8, is kicked out of school because he didn't turn in the form for an IEP. I tell you, sometimes these rules are so crazy, and sometimes the consequences are really bad. And I'm really sorry to hear that. Really sorry to hear that. Um, I will describe to you what a social worker typically that we've been coming across. Um, there are 8 social workers in Prescott, Arizona in the year 2022 decided to wear t-shirts, and on the front it was stenciled that they're professional child kidnappers, and on the back they put, do you know where your children are at? They parade around with these t-shirts, all 8 of them, at Costco, Target, Walmart, intimidating many parents until they were caught and they were fired. They also fired the director. All there was one person left at the CPS system there in Prescott. They called their system the DCS, Department of Children's Services. So that whole department was let go, the director and those 8 social workers. But that's your typical thinking of social workers. If that's not bad enough, a couple months ago, a social worker on her Facebook page put an ad. The ad was so distasteful. It was an ad from 1848, over 140 years ago, 10 years before the Civil War. And what the ad said, black children for sale. Black children for sale. That is wrong. That is wrong. And that social worker is black. So I have no idea why a black social worker would put an ad, children for sale. That is ridiculous. Black children for sale is what they put on that ad. And they posted on their Facebook of the year 2024. What does black children for sale have anything to do with the price of rice in China? I don't know. It's just wrong how people are, the child protection system, the social workers are so corrupt. They have lied to me. They're awful. Like there's another one just recently, a couple months ago. This girl was at a middle school, thought she was protected, and a social worker doing an investigation decided to come to the school, didn't alert the parents, but told the school that he wanted to talk to her. The school was so dumb and gave a stranger this child, and this social worker said, "I want to be alone with this child. Can you leave the room?" So he had this girl in the room, but no one knew that he was a pedophile. He asked the girl to take off her shirt and stand naked so he'd take pictures. And this is a social worker. Well, the daughter came home, told what happened, and the mom called the social worker, and the social worker was fired right away. That is wrong. You don't take pictures. First of all, you need to have 2 adults with children, not 1 adult, because you could get yourself in a lot of trouble there. A lot of trouble. What made it worse is that social worker, the pedophile worker, had a friend that worked in there. They've known each other since grade school. So he made retaliation and had the social worker accuse the mother of doing sexual things with her son. And see, the son's already been accused of doing sexual things with the daughter. So that's how bad the social worker was, by changing the story, by doing something really bad. And that's wrong. That's wrong. There are thousands and thousands of bad social workers and very few good ones. I've only had 2 social workers come on my show to talk. One was from Maryland named Carol. A couple of months ago, she talked for 40 minutes. It was nice to hear what she had to say about the Maryland CPS, but she was horrified or shocked by all the allegations I brought up about all the CPS systems in all the states. So she had a learning to do there. She's trained as a clinical psychiatrist, and she's further trained by the Maryland Social Systems, the Children's Social Systems Service there in Maryland. So I don't know what to tell you. Uh, I've talked to over 500. I haven't heard any good stories at all. The woman tonight, right off the bat, has lost her son, and I guess going to lose her daughter too. I didn't get a chance to talk to her too much about her daughter, but she had a teenage daughter. CPS, their MO is right away. When they hear an allegation, they believe it's true, even if it's done by a layperson who might be retaliating, such as in my case and many other cases out there. It's so bad that lay people will call in and use the CPS as their way of getting back at a person they don't like or that caused some trouble for you in the neighborhood. The Child Protection Service does not, really take any credence. They seem to believe every allegation is the truth, and right away you're guilty. It's the only agency where you're proven guilty. I mean, you have to prove your innocence. You're guilty until you're proven innocent. Okay, I have notified our regulars. I don't see them. Natalie, who's from West Hollywood, and Faye, who's from Richmond, Kentucky. But we've had Jessa James from California, near the Salton Sea, I think, is where that city's from. They said that city, Salton City, so that must be the Salton Sea. So the Salton City, boy, that's a really hot place for sure. And we've had Kristen that had called in about her daughter and son. So, and she was from Indiana. There are several rules that I cover every show, and I'll try to go through them pretty quick. One rule is you need an attorney to fight this. You may say, wait a minute, I got a court-appointed attorney. Well, I'm not saying you can't use them or you don't want to use them. I mean, that's the only way you can use them, is that they're not going to be fighters for your case. They usually have a caseload of 30 or more clients. So they won't even have time for your case. You may see them, at your hearing, but you're not allowed in the room, and they won't cross-examine or defend you very well. They want an easy solution, which is basically to have your children adopted by foster care. They don't want to put a lot of effort, the court-appointed attorneys. So I'm not telling you not to use them, but I said be careful. What you want to look for is an attorney, and what I want to suggest is the attorney that produces this podcast. His name is Vincent W. Davis. He's a professional attorney, been fighting CPS for 35 years. He knows how to fight CPS and get your children back. He's done civil lawsuits in both the state and the federal courts and sued CPS and won millions of dollars. So I'd like you to call in and schedule a consultation with Mr. Davis. It's 888-888-6582 is where you call in. It's a little orange and yellow number on my screen. And you see that and you call in. And you'll get the office. Make sure you tell them that Bob Pace sent you. And when you talk to Mr. Davis, make sure you tell him that Bob Pace sent you. It's important that you do so. And this consultation is 30 minutes for $60. 30 minutes for $60 is well worth your time going in there and meeting with Mr. Davis. Also, during that time, you can talk to him about his retainer. if you want him to represent you. He'll talk to you about that. He's a very friendly man, very hardworking man, and he has a podcast himself. But you know, okay, that's my rule number one: is that you want to get an attorney because the court appointed won't work for you. Also, if you try to do it yourself, you will not be very successful. I wasn't. I tried both the court attorney and represented myself, and it did not work out. I had to go to Mr. Davis after about a year that my case in there. I lost my daughter because the social worker lied on the stand. They were asking the social worker, have you ever had any domestic violence against your spouse? Has there been going on there? And that came up to play when my daughter was being trying to be adopted by my wife's sister. We were against that, but I guess anybody can do that. So she was trying to adopt her, and the question was asked by my attorney: was there any domestic violence in the home there? And the answer was no. And the attorney, excuse me, my attorney then pulled out documents that showed that the social worker was lying. There were documents of the repeated times of domestic violence at the address. And so he brought out all these documents, and she looked like she had mud on her face because she got caught in a lie. And I'm telling you is that you need to see everything because I don't want anything to be missed. And so you need to see it. Boy, I don't know. It's hot for me tonight. Somehow the heat's coming to my home. We have an ocean breeze has been doing very well, but it may have died down. So that's my rule number one. I've talked about rule number 4, which is spend 40 to 60 hours learning everything is about your CPS cases in your city. You have to look it up because everyone's different. There'll be a manual, there might be a guide, a CPS guide or a manual of how they're going to take forever. They'll answer your questions. Keep in mind, they do this as a money-making business. They make in the tune of over $80 billion a year. And I know from my 3 children, they were making $60,000 a month for 3 children to be wow. I'm trying to get some cool air coming in. Open up a window there. Rule number 2 is about your paperwork. I was very bad about that. I wrote my paperwork on envelopes and post-it notes and torn sheets of paper, my phone, my day runner, and everything. What you should do is you should organize it in a standard 8.5 by 11-inch binder, approximately 3 to 6 inches thick, with three rings, so you can put all your paperwork in there. I'd organize it into piles first. Like you could have one pile with your parenting class certificates, another pile with your program certificates, maybe another pile with your medical records, another pile with your court papers. And anyway, you do these different subject matters because you want to divide your information up so that you can see just what you need to do at the moment. Um, so, like one of the most important sections of your notebook should be your incidents. Now, you should get subject dividers and put them in accordingly. You can have one for your drug tests, one for your parenting classes, one for your court papers, one for information about all the information you have about CPS, the people to contact, the phone numbers, and those kinds of things. Um, so you should have, generally speaking, a different subject. It's going to be up to you. But the one I recommend is called the incident, and that's where you put down the date, the time, the location, the people that were involved. Then skip a line, and you want to put down what the incident was about. And then what you want to do then is do the next one, like that. You keep repeating and repeating it. So it's very, very important to have the information. Also, you want to have information. Um, I'm trying to figure out. Oh, you want to write down of the incident is what the incident was, and then you want to put the conclusion. How was it solved? What happened to the incident? Everything should have a conclusion. You open it up very briefly, describe what the incident was, and you should be able to put um, your case and so forth there. So the paperwork is something to organize yourself. I wasn't organized, and it's a good way to keep track of notes and so forth. There's a lot of time you're with the judge, and then other times you're with the balloon person. Um, Oh, highlighters. You should use highlighters like red ones and pink ones to highlight your notes. And your court documents, you should hole punch them and put them into your notebook. Arrange them with the dates. It's nice to have logs. You have a log for your parenting classes, your program, a log for your court documents so you can find things. The main thing is to have it all separated in unified organization. So that's my rule number 2. Rule number 3 is we talked a little bit about at the beginning. You should not let the social workers in your home. You should not answer the door. People will get killed answering the door. And just recently, on May 3rd, there was a black uh, Air Force man that was an airman that he answered the door um, after 5 knocks, nothing by the police officer, and he shot him dead. Shot him point dead. And he collapsed. He was talking to his girlfriend on voice time, and that was a tragic ending of his life. He was only 5 feet away. And the other person, the girl, just a couple days ago, 2 policemen burst in her apartment, and one of them murdered her, shot excessive force 3 times in the face. He's now awaiting trial. He's been charged, and he's been fired. That all happened within 24 hours. So, So we have about 10 minutes left in the show. We're on rule number 3. So when you hear a knock at the door, don't answer it. Go someplace in the house and be quiet. You don't know if that person can shoot you. It's very dangerous to answer the doors. Also, Child Protection Agency or the police will try to get in. They want your child. There's another ruse they're doing now. They're doing welfare checks. They're supposedly doing welfare checks, and they're not really, no need to. You don't have to answer the door. You have to be quiet and listen, and you'll get yourself an attorney to help defend you. Now, if you're outside and you run across the social workers, don't let them try to come in. Tell them that, hey, I need a timeout. I need to talk to my attorney about these matters you're talking about. I'll get back to you. That's an easy way to get them off your back. They have to be with a court warrant to come into the house. It's called a court warrant. And in that warrant, it'll tell you the directions of what they can do and what they can't do. It's very, very, very important, because if you let them in, they're going to find something wrong with your place. Like a fool, I did not know the law. You don't have to let them in. There's only 3 ways to get in that place of yours. 1 is by your permission, inviting them in. 2, they have a court warrant that says specifically, signed by a judge, what they plan to do, who they plan to see, and who they plan to take. So you got to be really, really careful on answering the door. There's no need to. They can leave their card and get back to them. It's your castle. You can tune in everything there. Now, police have the same rules of followed by 2. This warrant is an official-looking document signed by a judge that has the embossed stamp on it. It's also got to have pages regarding the court case and what your charges are. There's another thing that's very important. It's called medical trafficking. That's where they'll take your child. If your child's sick and you go to urgent care, or you go in the middle of the night to the emergency, and there are social workers working at that hospital or the medical center that will take your children. They have a bad habit of always latching on. They want kids for money. They want to traffic your children into foster care. You got to stop them. You got to stop them. And so they don't do that. Hello, Natalie. Oh my God, you're here. Oh wow, I had missed you. Welcome, Natalie. I'm glad she's from West Hollywood, California, south of LA. And here's Hannah from Atlanta. Are you on tomorrow night? Yes, I am, Hannah. I'm on every night of the week, 7 p.m. I want to call in next time you're on. I'm friends with Danielle due to this CPS case. So sure, Hannah, that's great. I don't see Faye tonight. She didn't come on, so she may be underneath the weather, but she's been on pretty consistently. Okay, the Facebook isn't showing up. I'm sorry to hear that. When you say the Facebook, you mean the notifications aren't showing up? Natalie, the notifications are not showing up? We're talking about my rule number 3, and we're talking about medical trafficking. And if you bring your child in, you got to be careful they don't take your child. Also, if you're pregnant, you got to make sure that when you give birth, you don't take your child. Make sure you get your birth certificate. Don't let them try to get that, because they'll put in a foster parent quick as you can see help, because they'll put that in. So it's really important. Yeah, the notifications, I know they're not showing up. I'm sorry about that. It's on there. Okay, we got a long one here from Shanna. She's doing it the last bit of here. We got about 5 minutes left. Shauna Broadway. I spoke with Megan Dodd. You just did an on-screen interview with her on her situation. I'd like to speak to you about my situation. I'm desperate for help. I do not know what to do. Well, you've come to the right place, Shauna. It's just that we need to have you come on earlier. I've been told by every attorney I spoke to that this is the most peculiar case I've ever seen, but they are too scared to take it because of what's involved. I got 1 in custody, 2 with me. It's a long, complete story to explain. Well, Shauna, either tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock or tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, please call in. I will let you talk on the show. That's so good. Shauna, what city and state are you from? What city and state are you from? Because I like to help you, Shauna. I don't know. We have about 4 minutes left. And I have one of my room regulars, Natalie, who will help you also. She listens in too. Now, I did say my rule number 1 to speak to Mr. Vincent Davis. Please call him at 888-888-6582. He will give you a 30-minute consultation for $60. That's $2 a minute. But he will talk to you and help steer you around CPS and answer your questions. He's very knowledgeable and he can help you. Well, Natalie, I sent you a text message. You see my text message? Yeah, I sent you a text message. So, Shannon, not to fret. We will help you out. It's not the panic mode. I'm on again tomorrow morning at 10. Yeah, you should not give your phone number on here, please. Hang on to it. Just call me tomorrow when I'm on 626 69 oh boy. Should have been 626-698-0990. That's the number you call tomorrow. Okay? And I'll be on it. She says, "Oh, thank you so much, Pryor, Oklahoma." My number, yeah, right. Definitely. That is right. That's right. Okay. Yeah, text message, but Facebook slow. Hi, Lori. You're on an hour late. I have to go now. My time is almost up. In fact, it is up. And I'm glad you came on, Lori, but I got to go. Thank you, Natalie, for being on. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Shauna. And thank you, the phone caller, which was Kristen. Thank you. And thank you, Hannah from Atlanta, Georgia. And thank you, Jesse James from Salton City, California. I want to thank you all tonight. I'll be on tomorrow. This is Bob Pace signing off, and God bless you.